time for our second interview for the day. We'll be speaking to Abigail, Gregory, and Shimila. The Living Link is a training center that focuses on the integration and upskilling of intellectually disabled young adults into the mainstream of our society. Good morning.
Good morning
to you.
Ninjani, how are you?
Well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm getting there slowly. We're hoping that the summer is here.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. We need the weather to be warmer. Huh?
Okay, before we even go straight into Living Link, let's get to know each other. I'm Kusi. I do morning cruise 10 until 12 every day here at Bush Radio.
My name is Gregory, and I'm the manager of the Living Link here in Cape Town.
My name is Abigail. Good morning, and I'm the newly appointed fundraiser at the Living Link in Cape Town.
Hi, and I'm Shimila. I'm the job coach and employment consultant to the Living Link. And we work and we also have another team member, Nabeelah Brown, that is our facilitator. And the four of us are the team of the Western Cape.
Coming back to the Living Link. I can hear from the phrase living and linking up with lives, that everything has to be planned correctly. Please take me through Living Link.
Okay, so Kusi, the Living Link is an organization that started about 20 years ago in Johannesburg. And it really was a mother and two daughters, and one of the daughters had an intellectual disability. And she was concerned about what happens one day when I'm no longer there. And she started this little course for her daughter to make her a bit more independent. And 20 years later, we now have this. Here in Cape Town, we started about 5 years ago. And as your introduction says, we work with young people between the ages of 18 to 35. That have an intellectual disability or a learning disability. And we try and, we do training course with them, a hygiene and cleaning training course. But part of that is we do a lot of life skills, because we want to skill them in a way that they're able to go into the open labor market, and be able to go and, earn money. That is how you become more independent. And that is what we do.
I want to know, though, how would you explain it in a simpler form to the listener? Intellectually disabled. What does that mean?
All right, so our young people that we are working with are all young people that are from Alsain schools. They are not learners that are able to thrive right up till matric. So they are ones that that are not able to read and write. They're not able to understand. They've got a learning disability. It's either intellectual disability or slow learners. Yeah. So usually when teachers or at high school, they actually pick up that these young learners are not able to thrive and actually meet the mainstream schools outcome or curriculum, they are then regarded as learners that then needs to go into an Alsain school. So we have about, I think, 43 or a little bit more than that Alsain schools within the Western Cape. And from the Living Link, we approach all of these Alsain schools, and we then have learners come from those centers, from those schools to us.
If you have just tuned in now, it's been to the Living Link. It's a training integration and upskilling of intellectually disabled young adults into the mainstream of our society. Their mission is to challenge the stereotypes and the stigma that surround these individuals within their own communities and society at large. So in studio, we're joined by Abigail, Klaasen, the fundraiser, Gregory, how do you say your name?
Simongpong.
Simongpong. I love your surname, by the way.
Thanks so much.
Simongpong, the manager, and also Shimila, Ownhouse, a job coach, and also who else?
Nabeelah Brown.
Nabeelah Brown. Okay, Nabeelah, please, I mustn't forget your name. Please, you must spank me if I'm forgetting your name. So obviously with Living Link, it's an organization that's helping out young people. All the organizations they come across, same thing. Funds, money, moolah, the new fundraiser. So what are the plans there on the pipeline? Obviously, you can't give out your plans to them because they're going to steal them. So what are some of the challenges you've encountered as somebody who was in there? Obviously, you're taking over. You still need to go back. What is the mistake? New strategies? What are some of the plans or the things that you saw? I know that with organization, they always crying the same thing. Funds, money, sponsors pull out, especially during the COVID-19. A lot of organizations had to close down. But lucky, Living Link is still trying to push hard. So what are some of the things you're going to strategize on?
I think I've got the most exciting role at the organization. I always feel that fundraising is the engine room of an organization, because without funds you can't function. When I started at the Living Link in the beginning of August, I walked into an environment which was already set up. I think I'm just bringing my skills to the table. Been fundraising for 15 years, but what drew me to the Living Link was the programs that they're doing. And at our graduation, I actually saw the outcomes, and also the how parents were feeling, how the youngsters have changed. So that is why we are here today, because we're doing a call for funding. We're asking Cape Townian companies, we're asking individuals, we're asking institutions to open up their hearts, but more their wallets to the Living Link. And we're asking them to come on board and donate to the organization. And we're also asking individuals and companies not to give a once-off donation, but to actually have a relationship with the organization to see the difference that your funds or your donation are making. So our organization, we are Section 18A approved, or we Section 18A public benefit organization, which makes your donation 100% tax deductible. So we have a program called the Learnership Program, and I'm going to ask Gregory to emphasize on it a bit more. So for one learner to go through the adult integration program, it costs 69,900 Rand, and we're asking companies to sponsor a learner. And I think I'm going to give over to Gregory just to give you more insight.
Before you give over, you said you need funding.
Yes, we do.
How can they do it? Take over. Use the
Thank
space.
I was waiting for that.
Advertising, but still use this space. This is your station, by the way. So we want organizations like this one, Living Link, never to close down.
Absolutely.
Because you guys are doing an amazing job, especially for the future leaders. So a space like this, in those numbers. Come on, advertising, advertise.
Okay, so first and foremost, if companies, individuals, institutions, anybody, families want to donate, please make contact with the Living Link. Our office number is 021-532-1812. I'll repeat it. It's 021-532-1812. You can ask to speak to Abigail. Also, our social media pages. Our Facebook page is The Living Link. All of our details is on there as well. When you do call our office and you speak to us and you want to donate, I'll send you the necessary information to know where you're donating to, and then I'll also send your Section 18A receipt as soon as you do the donation, and I'll give you our banking details once we make contact with you. If you want me to advertise it on here, I can do that as well. But
keep on doing it while you guys are here. Gregory, even if you disturb Gregory, is like, Gregory, wait. Please contact us on, you must take charge of the space.
Yeah, and guys, you know what? We also have a website. It is www.thelivinglink.co.za. The adult integration program that Abby spoke about, like she said, look at costs to run this. And as far as here in Cape Town. Like I said, we've got a branch up in Joburg, and in Cape Town, it has been a bit of a struggle because a lot of the learners that we are talking about come from disadvantaged backgrounds, and they come from areas where they don't have the resources to be able to pay that, like I said, the 69,000 Rand. And so therefore we're asking companies to come on board, because there's two phases to it as well. The first phase is they're in class, they're learning, that's for 6 months. And then the second phase is that they actually go and do practical work placements, and their companies can also get involved, because and you know, if they are thinking, oh, but how do we do this? We're not sure how it's going to happen. We will help them. We will assimilate the person into the workplace. We will come to speak to the colleagues, the managers, the supervisors. We will do all of that. And so, you know, if they are feeling as if, you know, how do we do this? We are not sure how to do it. Get in contact with the Living Link. We have Shimila, like we said, as the job coach. That is Shimila's job, is to make sure that that she supports the young person when they do their practical placement, but she also supports the employer, the company, because we know that, so for example, Kusi, it's with a physical disability, oftentimes people say, but that you can see, so you put in a ramp, you make the toilets a bit bigger, you put in bars and handles and all that sort of thing, and that is necessary. With intellectual disability and learning disabilities, it's a bit different. And so Shimila is a qualified occupational therapist. She's not a practicing one at the moment, but she has qualified as an occupational therapist. So she will assist any of the supervisors if they are going, but we're not sure how to interact with this person. That is what we do. Shimila can speak about just how she simplifies things for the not only for the trainee or the student, but also for the management, because oftentimes we have them say, wow, we actually thought it was going to be worse than this. We thought we were going to have to do so many different things, and then Shimila just shows him, no, it's quite simple. Put a list together, do those sort of things. But like I said, Shimila can obviously speak a bit more about that. Yeah.
And Shimila also wanted to know how has the work been going in terms of getting stereotypes to change around these individuals that are attending Living Link?
Yes, I think that it's always a challenge in terms of breaking down the stigma of working with young people with disability. But I feel that we are, it's a constant work in process. So like Gregory was explaining a little bit earlier about the job coaching, so I would liaise with both the learner that comes from our center that is working at a job site, and also with the supervisors. Sometimes it's simple things that the supervisors would actually be worried about, but once they speak to myself and Nabeelah, the other job coach also, just to kind of help them along with making things simpler for our trainees, then they'll see that it's easier to work with those trainees. It's putting lists together. It's maybe just adapting certain things. Sometimes they would use bigger words, and our trainees would want them to use simpler ways to explain certain things. Maybe the activities that we need to do is maybe more one-step activities. But I find that most of the times when working with our young people, you have a shy guy coming through from the start, but as they start seeing all of the things that they are able to do, it becomes a more confident person. The more they get comfortable with doing the task at the workplace, then you can see that they are actually becoming more stronger. Our trainers then start flourishing, that you can see personal growth. And I think that for me is always nice to see how this young person can actually develop over the time, working with other supervisors that they've never worked with before. All right?
If you have just tuned in now, we're speaking to the Living Link, which is a training center. In studio, we have Abigail Klaasen, the fundraiser, Gregory, Simongpong, the manager, I love that surname, and Shimila, Ownhouse, job coach, and also
Nabeelah Brown.
Nabeelah, your name. And also Nabeelah Brown in studio with us. Their training center and adult integration program provides our students with the tools and skills they need in order to successfully enter into the mainstream workplace. So please share with us more about the training center and adult integration programs.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, what we do is we take a staggered approach, in the sense that for the first 6 months they are in class and they're learning things like, for example, what we would call personal empowerment, and that is really to help them to advocate for themselves, because a lot of these trainees come from schools, as Shimila said, it would be called special needs schools, so they already feel as if they are different, and so it's a lot of working on their self-esteem. Then we have a part of it that is called the employment orientation, which has everything to do with employment. So we look at contracts, we look at CVs, we look at we do mock interviews with them. Then we also have financial maths, and I know everybody hates that part of it because it's maths, but what we focus on is the personal budgeting, because that is what a lot of them struggle with, is how do they budget? Now they've got a job, they can't just go and spend their money. So, we look at the personal budgeting, and then we have what we call lifestyle management, and that is the hygiene and cleaning part of it. But part of that is we also look at, it's not just about cleaning, but if you want to start maybe a little cleaning company, we also look at a bit of entrepreneurship as to how do we go about doing that. In actual fact, with our previous group, unfortunately because of COVID, we couldn't do it over the past 2 years, but this year, at the end of July, beginning of August, we had a entrepreneurship day. It was like a market day where they were actually able to put together a little table, and we invited all the businesses and people in the area, and we had quite a successful day. When they've completed that, they go on to, like I said, the practical part of it. So we've partnered with various businesses in and around Cape Town. But as I mentioned, we're always needing more businesses to come on board because we want them to have an idea of the different environments that are out there. You would understand that a radio environment is very different to a coffee shop environment, is very different to a warehouse. So the more businesses we can get, the more we can spread them around as far as that is concerned. And during that time, we have Shimila, the job coach, that goes in on a daily basis to support them. Because especially in that first maybe month or two, it's very difficult because they are going into something that is new. And when they've completed that, so now they've gone through a whole year, they've graduated, we also offer further support once they've completed. So it's not, oh, you're done with us. We also offer further support. They can join the Living Link as a member of the Living Link, and we become like an employment consultancy for them. We try and find them employment, and you'd understand that in today's climate, that is extremely difficult. But it makes it even more difficult if you have a disability, an intellectual disability, and you don't have support. So we offer that support. We've been fortunate that we've had a retail outlet that has employed about 26 of our learners in the past 2 years over this COVID period. So, like I said, once again, we're just looking at more companies to come on board. Oftentimes the tasks that they start off with are very basic tasks. They would start with, your basic work experience, but they have the ability to learn. And this is what companies often tell us, is that they thought, they would only stay at that level. But as they get to know the supervisors, as they become comfortable, as they get to see how the things are done, they actually are able to train them and teach them, and that they can also get promoted. So that is what we're wanting, is that integration is not just about having somebody work at your company, but it's also about having that person have the same access to opportunities that company has as well.
And also Living Link needs funding.
Yes, definitely.
That's my
Abigail,
part.
come on, Abigail. Sell Living Link. Sell Living Link.
Thank you, Kusi. Yeah, you have to get on board to assist the Living Link. Companies, individuals, anybody out there that is in a capacity to assist the Living Link. I'm going to give our numbers again. It's 021-532-1812. It's our office number. Please make contact with us, and I will assist you, explain to you where you're donating to, and give you a little bit of a background, as Gregory mentioned, what the Living Link does. And as I mentioned, it's a totally 100% tax deductible donation, and we will send you the relevant documents. Please also go on our website, www.thelivinglink.co.za, and then our Facebook page is called The Living Link.
And we also have Instagram, Kusi.
Yes, I forgot about
TikTok.
We're getting
Almost
there.
getting there.
And this is the amazing thing. This is the amazing thing, Kusi. The TikTok is not us, okay? It is our trainees that we're trying to get them to do it, because it's not about us. We want them, if we're talking about integration, we want to make sure that they are the ones that are seen, that are doing these things, because it's for themselves. So
But
it's not about us.
Living Link must have its own TikTok.
Okay.
Please, quick.
If I can just come in there again, like we shared our social media pages, I also want to mention that no donation is too small. All donations are appreciated. When you contact us and you want to donate from a 10 Rand to a 10 million Rand
Definitely.
would be highly appreciated. But we want those who donate to have a relationship with the Living Link. When they invest, they should see that it's making a difference. So, it's a thank you in advance for all the donations that we will be receiving.
Yeah.
If you have just tuned in now, it's been to the Living Link, the training center and adult integration program, which provides students with the tools and skills they need in order to successfully enter into the mainstream workplace. And also second phase membership for these individuals then involves the sourcing and the creation of employment. So I want to know, what are some of the goals or plans you have for the future? 2022 is over. Yeah. We're already in 2023. Companies, organizations are planning for next year. Living Link, what are the future plans?
Wow, Kusi, we've just actually in this week had a look at that, and one of the things, so we've said about the fact that we are looking for companies to come on board as far as employment goes, but we understand that that is difficult. You know, companies are struggling out there as well. So we are actually looking at creating something where we can create work as well. And one of the things that we are looking at is actually having a shop, whereby we can do like a charity shop, but with a coffee shop, but also doing things differently as well, with regards to approaching approaching clothing companies. That it's, when people think charity shop, oftentimes people drop off what they don't want anymore, and it's half broken and that. So that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at something whereby we can create a brand, and that the workers that are working there can feel proud about it. And those workers aren't going to be us. Those workers are going to be trainees that have gone through our center. And so that is one of the big plans that we have going forward. We are situated in Nabeelah at the moment. The challenge with that is that it's not very accessible as far as public transport goes. And so we are looking to become your neighbors maybe, because we are looking for something that's more accessible with regards to transport. So that is all in the pipeline for the new year. And we're looking to expand as well. So at the moment, we only take one class with the maximum of 14 young people in the class. And the plans for going into next year is to add another class with a different. So I spoke about the hygiene and cleaning. And so we are looking at so the hygiene and cleaning is a CETA accredited course. So we are looking at adding another course, which will be the business administration or business practice course, which is also a CETA accredited course. And those are all things that we are looking at going into the new year.
Before I let you go, is there anything you wish to share around the stigma surrounding disability of any sort? I know that there's still stigma regarding that. Is there any way that you can share?
Gosh, if you don't mind, Kusi, I'm going to do something, and then Shimila will speak about it as well. But I think the big thing for me is that we must be having these conversations. I think that is the biggest thing, is that we're not going to get rid of the stigmas if we're not having conversations. And there are organizations, the Living Link is not the only organizations. There are other organizations out there that are working with young people with intellectual disability. And I think people should be having, so if you know of anybody, if you know any organization, even if you don't know of anybody that has an intellectual disability, go to those organizations, find out what they are doing, contact the Living Link. As a business, look, we are mainly focused on getting young people into workspaces. And I think the biggest stigma is there that a young person with an intellectual disability can't go into a workspace. And that is what we are trying to make sure that stigma, that we get rid of that stigma, that they can be integrated. And I know Shimila is very passionate about this as well.
I think that added on to what Gregory is saying is that we have experienced how our young people with disability are actually integrated. We can see how they are upgraded their lifestyles, they added onto their families' lifestyles. So it's really a more holistic kind of approach to certain things. We talk about integrating our young people with disability, but this is complete integration where they are making decisions for themselves, they are living their own lives, they are making adult decisions where they in the past might not have been able to do those things. We can see how they have grown in personal growth, and I think that in itself is a big achievement for our center, so that we can and we need to promote this. We need to talk to like-minded organizations. We need to stop working in silos, and we need to kind of work in collaboration with each other. Organizations, I'm not talking about, not all our trainees like to be cleaners and doing hygiene and cleaning. They are wanting to do working as welders, working as beauticians, working in different areas, and we need to collaborate with a variety of organizations and people that can bring this about, because we are building our country. We need to we've been given an opportunity to restart certain things, and I think we need to not leave anyone behind this time.
Unfortunately, time is jealous. Time.
Thank you.
We have to leave you, Abigail, Klaasen, Gregory, and also Shimila.
But we told this was the Living Link Takeover Day. Come on.
Quickly, usually we ask our guests to give us last words. They can be motivational, can be word, can be a sentence. But quickly, for that listener who's listening now, who might be going through a lot and they're thinking like life is gone, they lost their jobs during the COVID. There's a lot of families, some of them are homeless, scary of what's happening around the world. What would you like to say to that listener who's listening now?
There is a place for everyone, and I think we need to constantly be reaching out to each other. I don't think if you do feel that you are a little bit lost and you're not knowing where you need to go, link with us, link with the Living Link, and we will be able to put you in link with some other organization that you need to be in contact with.
Abigail, your time.
Yes, it's me again.
People get hold of the Living Link.
Please
Give us
get
those
hold
details.
of the Living Link. I also want to add, Kusi, that apart from the funding that we require the organization, we're also asking companies to open up their doors for the job sampling, to open up their doors so that our trainees can have access to possible employment. And we're also asking companies to invite us for a presentation, to come and share the work that we do at the Living Link. And then also like I said, contact us on 021 532 812 if you possibly want to donate.
Social media?
Social media, yes, it's the Living Link. That's our Facebook page. Our Instagram page is also called the Living Link, and then our website is www.thelivinglink.co.za.
Make sure, Abigail, if they invite you in another station, push those things there.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming through.
You.